Good evening. Well, people be out their damn minds, yo. Wow. All over. All over. I'm sure you've heard probably a couple of dozen times by now about the Georgia Guidestones. Somebody, apparently, overnight, decided it was a good idea, which I'm not going to argue it, to, apply some cause and effect to the monument, in which resulted in the destruction of one of the, what would you call that? Stone slab, but I was trying to think of the technical term. Anyway, so they destroyed just one section of it, a little bit of the capstone on two sides, and since then, they have decided to go ahead and demolish it, take it completely down. And so, to my knowledge, it's been completely torn down, and they're supposed to start work on rebuilding it. Yeah. So, that's kind of crazy. I heard several different sources talk about this throughout the day, and I had to laugh at one. Georgia Guidestones, when I first found out about it a long time ago, long time ago, I tried to dig as much as I could. And of course, I couldn't get anywhere that anybody else couldn't. You know, I had the same limitations that everybody else did. And, but I kept my ears open, and eventually, word on the street was they figured it out as to who was behind it. At least one of the people behind it. And I had to laugh because one of the, I'm not going to say the channel, but one of the channel was going off for like a pretty good period of time about it was liberals. It was a liberal thing that was erected, right? It was liberals that were behind it, and I about died because no. Pardon me. That's the problem you have when somebody tries to give you news on current events that have an agenda, okay? They will twist and turn and blame and point without doing... I mean, dude could have did like 15 minutes of Googling and he would have found out. That simple. But nonetheless, no. And I'm going to show you, like I say, they're supposed to... The overseers, if you will... the caretakers, which is a granite association, they are the ones that are apparently supposed to redo it and get it back up. However, the initial monument was paid for by someone. Well, from my understanding, there were some details about how exactly the identity came about because of legal issues, but they most certainly got to the bottom of who was behind it. Now, you'll find sites that say otherwise and all that, whatever. Like I say, I'd been following this closely for a long time. That's why I had to laugh my ass off when I heard it was liberals. So, anyway, this is the article from RT as they put it, and let me go ahead and read it to you. Then I've got some video of them tearing it down for you, and I'm gonna show you who it was that at least I'll say that at least put out the check. Okay, I'll show you that. That's all I know. I don't know if anybody knows any deeper than that, but that's all I know. There was somebody that had to put forth the money That was identified, and it wasn't a liberal. So anyway, explosion damages American Stonehenge. A mystery-shrouded monument in the U.S. state of Georgia was severely damaged in an explosion early on Wednesday. It was later demolished entirely for safety reasons. State and local authorities are investigating the incident as a bombing. The granite Georgia Guidestones were built in 1980 and featured messages for humanity in 8 languages with a dedication to the Age of Reason. The preliminary information... I don't know, I heard something. Thought I did. Indicates that unknown individuals detonated an explosive device around 4 a.m. on Wednesday, July 6. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation said in a statement, adding that authorities in Elbert County asked for assistance with the investigation. The site is currently cordoned off until bomb disposal technicians can examine it. Let's see, and you know all this. One of the wings of it was completely destroyed. So this was one of the responses here. It said, "I am sad for the U.S. and for the world," said Kubis, pointing out that the monument was a major tourist attraction with up to 20,000 people coming to visit every year. While the messages inscribed on the monument were considered controversial by some, Kubis said they may have been meant for some future generations after maybe a cataclysmic event to avoid making the same mistakes as their ancestors. Anyway, it says video that was provided shows the incident, and absolutely, and it kind of looks like there is. I wish we could get all the angle, you know what I mean, all the video from all the angles, because honestly, it looks like something came in and hit it. But I kind of doubt that's what happened. I could be wrong. It just looks like something came in and hit it. If you look at see how that lights up on to the left? Why did that light up like that on the left? You see what I'm saying? I mean, I don't understand why it lit up all the way over there to the left at the same time that the explosion went off. And I questioned that when I saw it right away. But, so, as you know, that's what happened to it. And this was what wound up happening to it. They took a bulldozer and, a backhoe, and tore it down. Fun times, huh? It's crazy. Crazy. Like I said, they're supposedly gonna rebuild it. So anyway, back to what I was talking about. Let me close that and that. This goes into a little bit about the Georgia Guidestones here. Is this the one? There is an article out there that talks about how that's not who it was and all of that. This is an article on the Clio.com. It also talks about how he is the gentleman that was behind it. There's reasoning for that. Pardon me. So anyway, this let me get his name again. I don't want to screw it up. Hang on, let me find it. Herbert Kirsten, if I'm saying it right. Herbert Kirsten. So anyway, and I could have just, I guess, looked over here. He was a doctor. This is the liberals' obituary. Hang on, let me have a sip of coffee. And I said that sarcastically if you didn't catch that. Dr. Herbert H. Kirsten, 85, passed away on Friday, June 10th, 2005, at his home. Funeral services will be held at 10 a.m. Tuesday, today, June 14th, in the chapel of Losweiler Sievers Funeral Home. Okay, if I said that even remotely right. Let me get down to... Here we go. He was born on May 7, 1920 in Fort Dodge to Ann and Dr. E.M. Kirsten. He graduated from Fort Dodge Senior High and attended University of Notre Dame and the University of Iowa for undergraduate studies. He then graduated from the University of Iowa School of Medicine. He enlisted in the United States Army, where he serving during World War II in Charleston, South Carolina, Chicago, the Philippines, and Japan, where he was in charge of a 1,000-bed hospital in Tokyo. After serving in the Army, Dr. Kirsten returned to the United States, where he completed his surgical residencies and joined his father and brothers, John and Paul, in the practice of medicine at the Kirsten Clinic in Fort Dodge. Dr. Kirsten met Cecilia Burke, a nurse at the Kirsten Clinic, and they were married on February 19, 1955, St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Laurelville, Iowa. Dr. Kirsten and Ms. Kirsten, have 4 children. Amy, well, don't need to get into all those. Hang on. Sorry. Dr. Kirsten was active in the Fort Dodge Rotary Club, Fort Dodge Historical Society, the Head Start Program, the Fort Museum, a fellow in the American College of Surgeons, and the Iowa Medical Society. He was an avid bridge player, a former recreational pilot, and a conservationist who loved nature and trees. Not so quick. Everyone who knew him respected his love of his tree farm, Walnut Farms, located west of Fort Dodge. Dr. Kirsten had many hobbies: woodworking, oil and water painting, bridge, and the Republican Party, along with physics, livestock, and grain farming and music. He was a naturalist who was very involved in environmental and world population issues. Dr. Kirsten held a broad world vision of humanity and a myriad of personal and academic interests, which he pursued with diligent and thorough research. He was a skilled and dedicated surgeon, committed to high standards of excellence in all that he did. Dr. Kirsten was the essence of integrity and honesty, an exemplary gentleman. His noble devotion to his wife, family, patients, and profession is greatly appreciated by all who have been touched by his life. In lieu of flowers, memorials may be left to the Alzheimer's Association. So, not very liberal. Not liberal. But he did have Masonic ties, from my understanding. So that wasn't in there. I don't know why that wasn't in there. Know why they wouldn't have put it in there. But yeah, from my understanding, Masons were also had some part in those Guidestones. So yeah, you know, what's facts have to do with anything? So anyway, that just boggled my mind, and I wanted to set the record straight on that. Not that I love liberals or anything, but I really hate liars. God. Either that or just too lazy to even do a little bit of whatever it is. I don't care. People that provide misinformation like that, and just because they've got an agenda, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Anyway. Wow. It's like the third headline since I've been doing the show that's came up that I got to put out. That's not the way it usually goes. Nothing major, nothing big, so. And the other thing that I had talked about, I don't know if it was yesterday, day before, I brought up CERN. And I've got an article on that. Yeah, they did more testing. No, we didn't all die. I know. Believe it or not, we didn't all die. We're still here. And CERN didn't kill us all. So, I mean, it just gets old after a while, folks. The constant, non-stop boogeymans. Just constant boogeymans. I cannot stand misinformation. Look, I'm not saying CERN is all great and all wonderful and doing great sunshiny unicorn things. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not. But I do know that when the Earth's magnetosphere gets weakened, from particles coming from the, energy particles coming from the sun, it causes a really cool effect in the sky. We normally don't get to see it here. Obviously, you have to live up, I guess, North Pole, whatnot. I guess South Pole would probably see them sometime. Or would they? No, I guess they wouldn't, would they? Anyway, Aurora Borealis, Northern Lights. If CERN was really yanking around our magnetosphere that bad, then folks would be seeing the Northern Lights in all kinds of odd places at all kinds of odd times. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It's common sense. Sometimes I don't know. Some of these theories that people come up with, I don't know. I don't know if they're just looking for attention, if they're disturbed. I don't know. But, again, I'm not saying CERN is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It is a thing. But, I don't think that they're, I really don't think that they're opening up a portal to the underworld. Yeah, I don't see that happening. Again, not saying what they are doing is good. Not saying that they're trying to take it in a positive direction. Not at all. Because any time that our governments find a better way to kill, they like to try to build around it. And, so it is what it is. But I just think it's nonsense when people make it sound like it's going to be the end of the world non-stop. CERN scientists dig deeper into the universe's secrets. Scientists have discovered 3 exotic types of particles and a step closer to unraveling how the universe works, the European Nuclear Research Center, CERN, said on Tuesday. Physicists operating the Large Hadron Collider found evidence of 3 new combinations of quarks, elementary particles that form matter. Usually, quarks come together in groups of 2s and 3s and make up particles such as protons and neutrons. In rare cases, however, quarks form groups of 4 and 5, the so-called tetraquarks and pentaquarks. In this particular experiment, a new kind of pentaquark and the first ever pair of tetraquarks were detected. The latest development is consistent with the Standard Model, a theory that currently provides the best answer on how the universe is built on a microscopic level. We're witnessing a period of discovery similar to the 1950s when a particle zoo of hadrons started being discovered and ultimately led to the quark model of conventional hadrons in the 1960s. We're creating Particle Zoo 2.0, said Niels Tuning, physics coordinator working on the Large Hadron Collider Beauty experiment. Hadrons are any subatomic particle that consists of quarks. Finding new kinds of tetraquarks and pentaquarks and measuring their properties will help theorists develop a unified model of exotic hadrons. LHCb spokesperson Chris Parks said, noting that the exact nature of the latter is largely unknown. So, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really sound like they're trying to call Beelzebub. Sounds to me like they're trying to do science. And while I'm not all into this, I believe that we were created. I don't believe that just some craziness, chaos happened just for whatever. and then bam, everything's here, right? I don't know. I don't think it quite went down like that, but nonetheless, there are a lot of things that in science we have learned that didn't necessarily mean what we thought it was going to mean, but it was still a very significant step forward. And I think that that's a lot of what's going on with CERN. I really do. I think that there are some individuals involved in it that want to use it to try to prove that there is no God. But I think what they're going to find out is that it's just going to support more and more that there is. There's a documentary, and I've talked about it a few times. Now I'm not even sure if I can remember the name of the documentary. It might have been called Numbers. I can't remember, but it was a documentary that it was essentially talking about science and how science proves the existence of God. And it was a very, very, very good documentary. These folks did a lot of homework when they made it, and really interesting, really cool. So I don't think that just because, science is trying to push forward and learn new things and learn more things, that doesn't threaten me on a spiritual level. If it did, well, I guess I just wouldn't have that much faith to begin with. But I just think it's great. I love the advancement of science because, coming from somebody that was an atheist for like 30 plus years of my life, I've had all the reasons at the top of my head. I had everything, all the science, all that. And now that I'm no longer atheist and I'm a very firm believer, I look at those same things, a lot of those same things that I used to use, and it's like, well, now it's just been proven that I was wrong. And it's kind of cool because that happens in so many different areas within science that proves that, well, wait a minute, maybe how man thought it was going to be just ain't how it went. And things, to me, in my opinion, you can take a look at yourself, but it's pretty much turning out just like the good book said it would. So, a lot of interesting stuff. And I think that on the same token, some of the things that are in the Bible that some people think somehow was magic, I think was science. And I think that they were a hell of a lot more advanced during that time period than what we make them think, or, we make people think they were. How could you say that? They all wore, sheets with a hole cut in them, and yeah, okay. So there's this part, like many times in the Bible, that talks about there's nothing new on this earth. Explain that to me. So anyway, we are not the first advanced civilization on this ball of dirt. Sorry. And so, yes, even in the Bible, there is a lot of science. A lot of science. And science also explains a lot of different things in the Bible, too. So, again, some of those things that I would use when I wasn't a believer, like Noah's Ark. Okay, you tell me how two of every living animal could fit on. We know the size of Noah's Ark. People have built replicas of it. Right? There's one, in Tennessee? Or is it Kentucky? One of the two. I think it's Tennessee, though. But somebody built a replica of it. Right? There is no way that you could fit two of every animal on that. Can't do it. Won't fit. Not in its material form. But do you know what would fit every species on that ark? The DNA of a male and female of every animal. Think about that. Anyway, just saying. I don't think that science and religion, and I hate to use the word religion, I don't think that science and God need to be at war with one another. I think they kind of prove each other. So, just kind of an interesting tidbit. I think there are a lot of people, especially that are spiritual, and they're a little concerned about what they want to believe in science because of that. I don't think the two disqualify each other. I think the two qualify each other. I just think you got to know where to look. Anyway, so we didn't die. It didn't kill us all, and I don't think it's going to in a near future. So anyway, guess we'll go ahead and just run through these and do headlines. And apparently this cat was considering committing an attack somewhere else pretty nearby. It says here, U.S. Independence Day mass shooter Robert Crimo seriously contemplated a second attack, police said on Wednesday. Ultimately, the gunman decided that he hadn't put enough thought into it. Crimo was charged on Tuesday with 7 counts of first-degree murder and ordered held without bond on Wednesday. 2 days earlier, he was arrested after an hours-long manhunt, which began, we all know that. So, here we go. At a press conference on Wednesday, Lake County Major Crimes Task Force spokesman Chris Covelli said that during the manhunt, Crimo drove to nearby Madison, Wisconsin, where he seriously contemplated attacking another Independence Day celebration. Crimo, who Covelli said had a firearm and around 60 rounds of ammunition in the car with him, decided not to follow through as he hadn't put enough thought or research into it. When I heard that, there was just something that just seemed to miss there. And did he really think that he was going to get away? Did he really think that he completely pulled it off and that they didn't know who it was and that he was going to get away? That he was going to just drive back home after deciding not to commit the second attack, that he was just going to be able to drive home and be another day? I mean, he may have. I don't know. He may have. But I just find it awful strange that, I'm not prepared. Because I kind of have a feeling that he might have had some concern. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what information he had at the time. But I do find it kind of strange that he would have thought he would have had another day to do it again. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was either you do it or you don't kind of thing. He had already committed the first attack. The only way that he wouldn't think it was a YOLO moment was if he honestly thought that they didn't know he did it. So I don't know. And that may be the case. I don't know. But anyway, just insane. Absolutely insane. And of course, as always, millions of questions we'll probably never get the answers to. Lots of things that don't make sense. I still have that question about that guy that made the report multiple times, that he was right there on the ground, right there nearby, and actually saw the shooter. And I could, again, with Google, I could show you the street lamp, and stop sign that he said that the guy was right behind. And he said he was in a like a crouching position, and looking down the sights and just firing away right there on the ground. And this guy swore that he wasn't on the roof, that he was right there on the ground. So I would like to know a little bit more about that. You know? And you would think that somebody would want to know more about it. If that's what this guy is saying, why would he be saying that? You know? I'm sure that it wasn't this dude that was calling in and saying that. So I don't know. I just think that we ought to... I don't know. Let's see. Got issues in other countries as well with the energy still. And going to. This is going to get nightmarish. EU outlines energy emergency plan. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said on Wednesday that work is underway on an emergency plan to prepare the 27-nation bloc for a complete cutoff of Russian gas supplies. The plan will be announced in the middle of this month. If worse comes to worse, then we have to be prepared, she said, as quoted by the Associated Press. It is very important to have a European overview and a coordinated approach to a potential complete cutoff of Russian gas, von der Leyen added, noting that a dozen member states have already been hit by reductions or full cuts in gas supplies. In May, the EC announced a plan called Repower EU to abandon Russian energy as part of the sanctions over the conflict in Ukraine. The Commission proposed a nearly €300 billion package that include more efficient use of fuels and faster rollout of renewable energy. Let's see. I guess that said renewable power, and I said energy. That's why it threw me off. I'm like, wait a minute. Russia is the EU's main energy supplier. In 2021, the bloc imported 155 billion cubic meters of natural gas from the country, accounting for about 45% of its gas imports and close to 40% of its total gas consumption. Good enough. Yeah, I mean they're in a bad way over there, and I don't know what I don't know what we're gonna do. And then Biden, I'm sure you've heard it a dozen times. You've heard this too about the about it coming out. I said that a while back that they were exporting the energy over there. The energy, or the what they were taking out of the emergency reserves, they were sending over there. You can go back and look. It's been quite a while back. Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to continue to do that. It's. I mean, I know. Everybody at this point knows that this is just a clear takedown of this nation. Plain and simple. A clear takedown of this nation. They're making sure that we have no way whatsoever to defend ourselves, to help upright ourselves. I mean, we're in a bad way. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna churn out of this, but I know one thing. I'm glad I at least have a little bit of preparedness. I mean, we don't have tons, but I mean, I have a feeling things are gonna get a little dark here pretty quick. I really do. So we'll see, but I think everything that's happening in these other countries we're gonna face here. But some of the stuff may be, a little bit different causes. We should have the ability to be sustainable with natural, fossil fuels. Sorry. We should be able to, but we can't because we've screwed ourselves so many times over, whether it be with the drilling or whether it be with the refining, what have you. One way or another, we've made sure to shoot ourselves in the foot when it comes to that stuff. So being able to spool up and be able to produce enough just completely on our own to be able to support our own country and the war effort, to be real honest, I don't know that we could spin up enough to be real effective on a war effort. So, put it this way, we would have to be sending much of it for that war effort. When it came back to, when it comes down to rationing fuel and stuff, absolutely you would see that again. It might even be much worse than before, during World War II and whatnot. I would imagine probably so. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Let me grab a sip of coffee. A Eurozone sees record spike in food prices. Consumers in the Eurozone continued to cut spending on food, drinks, and tobacco last month amid a spike in prices, EU Statistics Office Eurostat reported on Wednesday. Data shows that costs rose by 8.9% last month on an annual basis, compared with 7.5% growth in May. Despite a marginal overall increase in retail spending, sales of food, drinks, and tobacco fell on the month by 0.3%, compounding the 2.3% slump recorded in April. Inflation has been rising steadily in the Eurozone for more than a year, reaching 8.6% in June. It is currently 4 times higher than the target set by the European Central Bank. The regulator, which has vowed to tackle surge in prices, is due to meet in late July to start raising interest rates. ECB President Christine Lagarde said earlier this week that the inflation outlook does not improve, or if the inflation outlook does not improve, we will have sufficient information to move faster. And I'm sure they will probably bump up the interest rates, and I'm sure it's probably going to be devastating to the individuals there. I mean, it's just the whole situation is nonsense. I think that there's a long way to go with this, because I really do think what they want is people to beg for their help. I really do. I really think that what their intent is to make people beg for this great reset just so they've got food, medicine, shelter. You watch. You watch. And I think they're going to squeeze off everything. They're going to cut off our fuel. They're going to cut off our food. They're probably going to cut off our energy. Whatever it takes. I mean, they will do whatever it takes to get us to comply. And I do see that coming. I absolutely see that coming. You know, it might be a long way off. But there's some pretty sick, sadistic people in charge. Anyway, shift gears a little bit here. Dutch police fire targeted shots at protesting farmers. Insanity. Police in the Netherlands fired their service weapons at farmers protesting new environmental reforms, with video footage showing officers shooting at a tractor as it attempted to evade law enforcement. The incident unfolded late Tuesday near a highway entrance ramp in the northern town of Heerenveen, where local police claimed tractor drivers attempted to drive into officers and service vehicles following a stop. If they wanted to, they'd probably just drive over it. A threatening situation arose, warning shots were fired, and targeted shots were fired, they said, adding that the tractor was hit and that 3 suspects were later stopped and arrested. Nobody was injured in the encounter. However, footage of the shooting has since emerged on social media and does not appear to show any attempted ramming. Instead, the clip depicts 2 vehicles driving off from the scene, neither coming close to hitting any pedestrian, with officers opening fire on the second as it sped away, which is the general thing. Not anything new for him to lie. Simple fact of you breathing, they're in fear for their life. Yeah, I mean, didn't in any way, shape, or form act like he was going to go after them. No. Just another case of gotta get the perp. Insane. Says another video apparently filmed around the same time shows an officer with a pistol in hand as he issues commands to a tractor driver parked near the highway ramp, all the while aiming the weapon at the vehicle. There's apparently no audio. Let's see. Gideon Van Marine, I'm sure I said that way wrong, an MP with the Conservative Forum for Democracy Party, later commented on the footage in response to a police statement, saying it did not show anyone in imminent danger, while adding that the tags police violence and farmers' revolt. He urged the authorities to account for the apparent discrepancy as soon as possible, also noting that he had requested an emergency debate in Parliament. Because an officer fired their service weapon while on duty, the National Criminal Investigation Department will launch a probe into the incident to determine exactly what happened, local police added. A run-in came during a wave of unrest among Dutch farmers who have vocally opposed a government initiative to slash pollution emissions, including nitrogen oxide and ammonia, by 50% over the next 8 years. It's insane. And this is not about the environment. Absolutely not about the environment. This is about squeezing out any average everyday person that produces food, that does anything that's vital into the sustainment of life. And that's what they're doing. They're squeezing everybody out so that they can have total control over it. Hey, no, it's not the government. Amazon's not government, right? Walmart's not government, right? No. But they're private industries working lockstep with the governments to take total control. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're going to take total control of the food industry. They're going to take total control of every industry. I hate to see what it'd be like if their plan isn't stopped. It's going to be devastating. It really is. I thought this was a little ironic. Remember back when, I don't know, a certain U.S. president was going on and on and on about how China should have to pay compensation for COVID? Yeah, well, Russia is pretty much saying the same thing now about us, considering that it was most likely an American research program that caused the issue. So, yeah. Anyway, the U.S. may owe the world a huge compensation for the damage caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Volodin, the Speaker of the Russian State Duma, said on Wednesday. He cited remarks made by the chair of the Lancet Commission on the disease, who suggested the SARS-CoV-2 virus may have originated from an American research program. Speaking in Madrid last month, economist Jeffrey Sachs called for the current situation a mess and blamed diminishing American leadership for it, identifying the pandemic as one of the U.S. failures. He said he was convinced that the virus came out of U.S. lab biotechnology, as opposed to evolving naturally, citing his experience with the authoritative British Medical Journal. Volodin asserted that the U.S. government would not comment on Sachs' remarks because President Joe Biden is afraid that the world would know the truth about the true culprit of the pandemic. He added that the suffering of millions of people who contracted the virus, including the many who passed away, and the economic crisis caused by the pandemic were the U.S. responsibility. The U.S. must compensate the damage to all nations affected, he demanded. The Russian official added that the U.S. should stop and declassify its military bioweapons research, referring to the chain of biolabs scattered across the world that receive funding from the Pentagon's Defense Threat Reduction Agency. The U.S. says they are used to detect emerging pathogens, but some countries, including Russia and China, believe they may be used for clandestine military research. I mean, come on, let's be real here. So here's the thing. I know a lot of people might just instantly want to say, "Oh no, we wouldn't do that. We didn't do that." Let's not forget that we already know some of the individuals that have been involved in the creation of that, and they happen to be Americans. Yep. So, yeah. I'm not saying it was necessarily developed on our soil, but it was probably developed with our knowledge. Well, I know it was developed with our knowledge, and I'm sure it was developed with our help, and I'm damn positive it's developed with our tax money. So, insane. No, well. Let me read you some headlines, and I'll mosey on out of here for the night. Starting out with a win for the vaping industry. FDA temporarily suspends its order banning Juul cigarettes. And I'm not a fan of the Juul company, but, it is what it is. I don't think that they should have had their product removed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but this is definite. This is awesome. I mean, it really is a step forward for the vaping industry, because it didn't seem like it took too long for them to. Well, of course, a judge had intervened, and then I guess the FDA had themselves decided to temporarily suspend the order. So who knows? It could be just another game. I'm sure they're not done, but it is what it is. Fight for your right to vape. I mean, it's insane. It's been a battle ever since vaping came to this country, and it's nonsense. Twitter sues Indian government. First member ratifies new NATO expansion. Dutch police... Oh, I covered that. South Korea vows stern retaliation. Belarus responds to Western sanctions. OPEC Secretary General dies suddenly at 63, says an official. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I don't really know anything about it to be able to tell you anything. Chinese EV may be the new Tesla killer. Another minister resigns from UK government. Russian governor comments on response to Lithuania's transit ban. Possible cause of future oil price crash is named. What, like the extermination of billions of people on the planet? That would do it. Just a thought. Pentagon to invest in deterrence against hypersonic weapons, says Politico. Well, I'm sure they are. West responsible for civilian deaths in Donbass in Ukraine, says Moscow. Germany likely to face gigantic winter crisis, says Bild. Switzerland rebuffs Ukrainian demand for Russian assets. A ruble rally comes to a screeching halt. What? I need a sound effects board. My news is lame. U.S. should pay I covered that. EU doesn't want war with Russia, says a top diplomat. NATO comments on military bases in Sweden and Finland. Canadian military to allow skirts and hair coloring for soldiers. Is that both female and males, or just asking? I covered that. Russia halts transit of Kazakh oil to Europe, says media. Ukrainian air defense benefits from Western intel, says Kiev. Russia responds to reports Turkey detained its ship. Turkey gives Sweden and Finland a reminder. Russia says it destroyed U.S. arms dubbed powerful tools by Kiev. Details emerge on Copenhagen mass shooter. Ukraine achieves maximum militarization, says an official. Russia tests anti-drone gun in Ukraine, says media. They've been testing out a lot of new weapons there. EU outlines... Oh, I covered that. Moscow comments on Putin's participation at G20 summit. More ministers resign as UK PM vows to fight on. EU member explains why it's not sending arms to Ukraine. U.S.-Mexico border is world's deadliest, says the UN. UK conservatives plot move against PM, says Bloomberg. Kremlin alarmed by death threats to former Austrian FM. Huh? Oh. Oh, man. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's awesome that they're down, but I don't think they're going to be down long. They're supposed to put them back up, so we'll see how long that takes. I don't know how long it would take to do that. I mean, probably not real long with today's technology, I wouldn't think. Let's see. Eurozone sees record spike in food prices. A violent protests erupt over demands of EU neighbor. A U.S. lawmaker twerks in campaign video. And no, I'm not going to show it. It's disgusting. Ukraine alarmed over Western humanitarian and military aid. Ex-president says Ukrainians face tough choice. Let's see. Covered that. Country creates first open category for trans athletes. So I guess trans athletes are going to get their entirely, their own, category. So that works. Let's see. Sweden top diplomat slams left for supporting terrorists. Zelensky speaks out on restricting rights of citizens. A U.S. goal for Russian oil price cap revealed, says Bloomberg. A U.S. judge declares invasion at Mexican border. Let's see. Medvedev cites Bible to Russia's critics. China blames NATO for creating conflicts and waging wars. No, they wouldn't do that. Funeral home owner in U.S. pleads guilty to body parts for cash scheme. That's kind of concerning. Ukraine should cede territory to Russia, nearly half of Germans say in poll. Microsoft's Activision Blizzard takeover faces investigation. Somebody's playing games with the games. UK PM rejects Scottish independence referendum, citing Ukraine. Iran detains UK deputy ambassador for alleged spying, says media. France to nationalize power company. Apple launches lockdown mode. Don't you like that? It's much more sinister sounding than it is. It's supposed to protect people. I don't believe it. It came from Apple. I don't believe it. Chinese students leave UK amid crackdown, MI5 claims. U.S. targets Iranian oil. Biden doubles down on Putin tax. WHO revises gender manual. I'm sure you're all going to go out to get yourself a copy of the latest gender manual. Biden purges major non-NATO ally. We need to binge and purge Biden. Anyway, that is that's it. That's the end of the world. Oh, no, the end of the news. Not yet. Not yet. Calm down. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm not going to flip out and lose my, I'm going to try and kick out a laugh here and there when I can, and take things as I can, let things roll off my back, do what I can, and keep doing it, rinse and repeat until that last breath. I ain't gonna get bent out of shape about things I can't do nothing about. Anyway, I am gonna do something about being on here. I'm gonna get the hell off, and I will talk to you all tomorrow night, God willing. I appreciate your coming. Hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.